allow list to give away today during the spaces.
Yep.
Um, so I think that the best way for us to go about that is in our last 15 to 20 minutes, we can do a Q&A with the crowd for any questions that we did not go over. And we'll be able to give a allow list up to the people that are able to ask us some good questions.
Excellent.
All right, awesome. Well, let's just get into it. I've had my eye on your project for a while, actually. I was lucky enough to get a whitelist. Maybe it was through Metaverse HQ, I believe, through our partnership. So I really appreciate that. Could you just maybe talk to us about yourself and the background for this project?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been um, in online marketing for most of my adult life, I would say. In 2005, I had a company for online marketing in the gaming space or gambling space, we would say here in Europe, probably. Was an online casino affiliate for many years and was fortunate enough to sell that company in 2015. I left then to New York. I've spent some time over there doing something completely different in real estate. Jumped into crypto in 2017, as many others, as an entry drug, I guess, into NFTs. And yeah, so that was kind of my first exposure to what was going to become Web3, and loved it. And then somewhere, I think April last year, I think like a year ago, um, I fell in love with NFTs and Web3 as all these opportunities started becoming clear, and dropped everything else, jumped in head first. My partner and I started doing something on the analytical side of NFTs first. That gave us a lot of exposure to a lot of projects, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And obviously, we've seen a lot of hype projects that weren't worth, anything. But we've also seen very good projects, and kind of what the difference of the two are. And shortly after, I think in June last year, we started tweaking and thinking about how to build this project. So we've been working on this for quite a while.
Interesting. I like that you kind of noted that, there's a lot of projects with tons of hype that really don't come to fruition. I noticed that you have an Oniforce profile picture, and in your bio it says that you are an Oniforce enthusiast. Can you tell us a bit about maybe some inspiration that you've drawn from that project? Because I can kind of say that that was a very hype project that, in my eyes, has kind of failed to deliver on a number of things. But maybe tell me why you're a fan and your inspiration, possibly.
Yeah, you're touching on a traumatic experience, I'm guessing. So I don't quite have PTSD from it, but maybe the Web3 NFT version of it. I Ailoverse was actually the first project that I really got excited about myself. So I found out about it shortly after the mint. It was pre-reveal, and I jumped into the Discord. And at that time, I didn't spend so much time in Discord servers yet. Love the vibe and the way that the project has actually built the Discord and the community. The mods were amazing, and the whole vibe was really great. And then I had actually bought pre-reveal for at the time a cheap price, like around 0.5, 0.6. Kept on buying, and after reveal, things really started taking off, and it felt like this is the next blue chip project. And then I still feel it could have been, if the team wouldn't have screwed up that bad. um, but in terms of inspiration, I think uh, the art is stellar. It has nothing to do with whatever we're doing. There is no inspiration in that sense, but the perfectionism was something that I really took notice of, and wanted to also have in our project, something that just looks really crisp. And another thing that I thought Only Force did very well was, pretty much no matter which NFT you got, it looked great. Maybe you like the different trait more, maybe you like the different type more, but all in all of them looked really crisp. You didn't have, sometimes you see projects where 60% or maybe 50% of the project of the art you like, and the rest you don't like. Like a lot, maybe half of the people are upset when they actually see what they got after reveal. And I think one of the things that are really an art for itself is when everyone thinks like, okay, it could have been more rare, but this looks great. And I think that's what they did pretty well. Now, I will say we've come up with this idea of the modular NFT mechanics that we'll talk about a little bit later, and I'll tell you more about it. But in a nutshell, what Oniforce is doing at the moment with those frames that are revealing tomorrow, those are I don't know how familiar you are with it. Those are additional free to mint NFTs, but they actually are attached to the original NFT. So it's like a new frame, as I say, to your existing NFT. And that goes a little bit into the direction of what we're doing with those modular NFT mechanics. Obviously, we didn't take any notice of that. It's pretty new that they came up with that. So, but it kind of gives me the feeling that what we're going for is where the space is heading, and hopefully Oni is going to make a great comeback with those frames. I really hope so, because I actually love this art, and I still think the community is amazing. And in that regard, by the way, community wise, I think there's a lot to take from how to build the community post mint and keep everyone interested and engaged. That's something that I think, at least in the beginning, they've done well. And yeah, hopefully this is going to be a great comeback story.
Yeah, well, thanks for letting me know about that information for Oni. I haven't really kept up with the project, but that would be interesting to see them make a comeback. Now, I wanted to go over your art team. You brushed over the fact that you guys have really tried hard to make your art very good, and I can say I'm quite impressed. And it looks like you guys have an art team from the likes of people that have backgrounds from Disney, Pixar, and DreamWorks. Could you maybe talk about them a little bit and how you got connected with them?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a total of 20 people on the team. Not all of them are in the graphics department, but a lot of them are animators, 3D modelers, concept artists, stuff like that. We have a concept artist called Baidaku, who's done work for DreamWorks before. He has created the concept art of the cats. He's drawn them in 2D, and then, which is, by the way, a super tedious task. The robots were done so much faster. Like I think within 6 weeks or 2 months, we had all 10 robots ready. And of course, we had like tweaks that we wanted to do and some customizations and all that. But then building those cats that have real character that can be animated and will actually have character that is, I would say, like Pixar-ish, in the sense that you look at this character and it actually transports a lot of emotion. That was super hard to do. We went through a lot of iterations. And yeah, so the other person that is kind of like a all-star in our rooster would be 3D print guy, who's been working on stuff for Disney and Pixar and Netflix and whatnot, a lot of different things. And on his YouTube, on his private YouTube, he actually has a combined 40 million views on his animation videos. So he's really awesome. He's been a great help in this. And nevertheless, we try to highlight the whole team as a whole, because we also have other guys in there and girls, other people that have done amazing work, but maybe not for big, movie studios like Disney or Pixar before. For example, Eric Schmill is one of our animators who's extremely talented. Has done work for Carolina Herrera, which is a fashion label, but hasn't got this like household brand name as experience like Disney or Pixar. So we try to find the middle ground between highlighting that we have people with experience for big studios in the past, but also that the team and the art and the project by itself actually stands in front.
Very interesting. Now, I really wanted to know the background behind these mech cats, and maybe we could go and dive into maybe the utility, because to me it kind of looks like you guys have the opportunity to possibly make a game of some sorts with these, mech characters. Can you dive into that possibly?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting that you say that. Most people in most AMA sessions that we have, people ask pretty soon after we start, "Are you actually building a game here?" And that is not by accident. So the way that we're building this project at the moment is for a normal profile pic collection or even a collectible collection, it's an extreme overkill what we're doing. So I just told you we have these 10 robots, robot classes. So there's the general, and by the way, if you go on our website, which came out a couple of days ago, ailoverse.com, you can see there's a lot of information there also about the NFT mechanics, but also these different characters that I'm talking about. So you have these different robots. One is like a commander, the other one is a sea hunter, land explorer, air explorer, and all these different robot classes. 10 different robot classes, but also 10 different cat breeds. Now, obviously, all of these are in the collection will be unique, but the sheer geometry, the 3D models, there's 10 of each, which is the extreme overkill. Usually, if you think about regular, let's say 2D NFT collections, you would usually have one geometry and then like layers on top to make them unique. In our case, as I said, we decided to create something that is an extreme overkill for what we're doing at the moment as an NFT collection, but in order to be able to expand that IP, so the IP actually stands in front. And what I mean by that is right now in the roadmap 1.0, if you will, the most important factor is the creation of that animated series, and from that series, that's gonna be free to watch. So we might do like a premiere in a metaverse like Decentraland or somewhere, but then it's gonna go onto YouTube. And the idea behind that is that we want maximum exposure for that show, because the plan is the second iteration is to get on streaming service like Netflix or Amazon or whatever, and for that we want to create a production that is so good that your neighbor tells you about those robot cats that you talked about, not even necessarily related to NFTs. So we want to make this so broad and so outside of the NFT space that it's interesting for mainstream for anyone. And so the next step that's kind of like the entry for the IP, and the next step then is to build all the other elements that it begs for, like a game, for example. Now we wanna do this the right way. With everything that we're doing, we're trying at least to under promise and over deliver. And that means that even with a game, we could now write on our roadmap that we are going to build a play to earn game or a video game or a mobile phone game or whatever other game that it is. But the truth of the matter is, if you look at our team and what our qualifications are, none of us has ever built a game. So we don't want to say that we're building a game. What we want to do is we want to create whatever we know how to do best, and then use our connections that we're already making right now, and we're already in good talks with the relevant people. But once we actually have, as I said, like a strong IP, a strong community, an NFT drop that people have heard about, we'll be able to create partnerships to actually work with um, experts and, like, hands-on experts in the field to build something awesome. And that's the way that we approach it. Another example, just briefly, would be, for example, physical items like luxury toys, like bear bricks or cars, for example. These robots, in my opinion, beg for something like that. Like, I think they would look so cool. And all of these things, I think, are definitely something that we want to do. But for the first iteration of the roadmap, we wanna do things right, and we wanna focus on what we think we can deliver in a world-class format.
Very interesting. I like to hear that you guys are going to be trying to build an entire brand around this. And you even touched on the fact that you want outsiders from the NFT space to understand this brand. Could you maybe go over how you guys are going to be able to reach people outside of the Web3 and NFT space? I think you brushed over a few things, but I'm really interested to hear how you guys are going to work hard to make this kind of like a worldwide brand from what it sounds like you want to do.
Yeah. So I think there's really two uh, main um, main objectives that we're going for. One is that animated series that we talked about. We can touch on that a little bit more because it's a community-driven animated series. So it means that the community will actually decide what the story will look like, and also vote on the characters that will star in the show. Um, all the characters in the show are going to be actual NFTs. And I'll touch on that a little bit later again. The other thing that so yeah, we're building that production. The other thing that is central to our project is the NFT 2.0 modular mechanics, as we call them. So when you mint the Ailoverse project on Monday, what you're getting is not one but two different NFTs. You're getting a video of the robot, which is turning 360 degrees, and you're getting a cat, which is like a profile pic, so to speak. And now, again, you can see all of that pretty neatly shown on the website. Um, Ailoverse.com. So what you can do then is assemble those two elements, as we call them, so as element, yeah. So those two separate NFTs called elements, the robot and the cat, you can assemble them to the final Alo set, as we call it, which is an animated version of the cat steering the robot. Now, why is that relevant? First of all, we wanted to create this kind of innovation because uh, the one thing that we asked ourselves, like many others last year, when Bored Apes took off and Cool Cats and whatnot, is the question: okay, what are we getting other than those JPEGs, right? So we've all heard this thing about, hey, I could have just right click saved and all that, and it's clear that there's so much more to an NFT than just the JPEG. But in the end of the day, you know, there's been so many questions around. Okay, it's about the community or it's about utility, and in a lot of ways, I think this industry is still trying to answer those questions. But on a straight art level, what we felt we want to do is something that can evolve. So in this first iteration of the Alo set, you have the robot and you have the cat that you can assemble. You can mix and match them. So maybe when you got your mint, you love your robot, but you want a different cat. So you sell your cat and you buy a different cat and you assemble those, or vice versa, whatever you want to do. You can assemble them, you can disassemble them. Now, at a later stage, what's going to be the next iteration of this is adding more things to the Alo set. So we're working on, for example, additional elements in terms of music. So music producers and DJs that will be able to produce music for the Alo sets that you can then build into your Alo set on top. Or, for example, street artists and in general, like graphic artists that can create custom paint jobs for the robots, or dynamic backgrounds for the Alo sets. A lot of different ways to actually customize your Alo set and make it evolve. And what that actually creates as an opportunity is things that we see, for example, with 10 10K TF, for example, which did this Gucci thing last, and also have done the high tops and the backpacks for Bored Apes and for Oni. So these kind of collaborations that you can make with brands, but also with artists. So there might be a brand that we think fits the Ailoverse brand well, that then, for example, creates caps or helmets for the cats, or different like badges for the robots. I think the possibilities are endless. And so with that, and also the fact that we have 3D models that are fully rigged, both the robots and the cats are fully rigged, give us a lot of opportunities to create more ways to bridge that gap between Web3 and brands and artists that are not in Web3 at the moment.
Yeah, that modular NFT stuff, that does sound very interesting, and I'm interested to see how you guys can pull that off. We just reached our 15-minute alert until we do our Q&A for today. So if you guys have some good questions for these guys, we're going to be giving away 10 allow list spots. And we also have about 57 people in the crowd, which is really great to see. I'd love to see it to be able to reach 75. So if you guys want to be able to give us a share, and if we hit 75, I think we could do a quick giveaway for 2 of these allow list spots before we get into the Q&A. Does that sound good?
Yeah, pretty good.
Awesome, man. Well, this is the part where I want to continue to try to listen to you and about your project. So do you have anything that we haven't gone over that you would like to bring up and let the crowd know?
Let's see. Well, I think we should probably mention the facts about the mint. So supply is going to be 5,000, which means that there's going to be 5,000 robots and 5,000 cats. As a reminder, when you mint, you get one of each. So the supply is actually 5,000, but when you mint, you get one cat and one robot. Both of these are in separate collections, also on OpenSea. So they also have their separate collections. They have their separate rarities, separate floor prices, and all these things. Now, when you assemble your Alo set, what happens to those 2 elements, so the robot and the cat, is that they get locked. So they don't burn, they don't disappear, they get locked. You still own them. And now a third NFT gets created, which is going to be your Alo set, as I said, the animated version of that cat steering the robot. Now, that by itself also is in a separate collection on OpenSea and has its separate floor price. Now, when you sell your Alo set, you actually sell all 3 tokens together. Although those elements are still, the robot and the cat are still locked, but you no longer own them, so you sell the whole set. And that's pretty cool, I think, because a person that buys it might have bought it because you have this super rare robot, and I might have the super rare cat, and I wanna assemble my cat with your robot. So I would buy the set, I would disassemble it, and then assemble the set as I wanted to have it. And we think that's a fun way to actually mix and match your NFTs. Um, yeah, so 5,000 is the supply size. The mint price is going to be 0.075 ETH for whitelist, 0.095 for public sale. We still giving out whitelist spots in our Discord server. We still have we're still giving out, I think, 50 until Saturday. So you can take a look in our Discord server if you like. What else is there to say? I think that's the gist of it. I'd love to hear some questions maybe because I think that there's probably going to be good questions.
Absolutely. I kind of wanted to get it more clear on how this whole modular NFT is going to work. So when you say that it is locked, and you create your mech, it sounds like you have this third NFT, this animated NFT created. Are the other two parts that were used to create that, if you were to sell this mech, transferred? Because you're saying that if you wanted to possibly get somebody else's mech suit for your NFT to make your mech, would you have to say buy the full NFT and undo it, and then you receive the other one back? I guess I'm a little bit confused on how the technology behind this works. It seems a bit new.
Yeah, so yeah, it is definitely a bit confusing. I agree. So what happens is if if the um, if the NFT is assembled, so if there's an assembled set of the robot and the cat, you now own three NFTs. If you sell the set, you can't sell it by itself. You can only sell the set. So it means you're selling actually three tokens. The two separate tokens are locked, but you still sell them. You transfer them is the right way to say it. So now, when I buy that set, I could, of course, I could buy only a robot if I can find, let's say, that robot that I like separately. But maybe it's so rare, or maybe that's the particular robot that I wanted, and it happens to be assembled. So now I can, if you are selling, I can buy your set. Um, all three tokens are being transferred to me. Now I disassemble that set. What happens then is that the set gets burned. There's no more set now, and now I can again control the robot and the cat by itself and use, for example, that robot to assemble it with another cat that I like better. So I think that's maybe the part that was missing. When you actually disassemble the set gets burned. It doesn't exist anymore because otherwise we would have duplicates, right? You wouldn't have one iteration of every robot and cat. So that is basically how it works. Does it make any sense at all?
Yeah, that definitely cleared it up. So it sounds like there's something maybe written into the contract that when you were to, sell that mech, it would take the other NFTs with it. Is that possibly how it
Yes,
works? That's very
that's exactly how
interesting.
it is. Yeah.
I would definitely. I mean, I'm sure you guys have, but I'd definitely make that 100% clear. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of misunderstanding with this new technology, but I'm excited to see how this works out. So
Yeah.
we can definitely hop into some Q&A already. I know that we have 10 allow lists, so that gives us a lot of questions that people are going to have to ask to achieve those allow lists. So it looks like we already have some people requested. If you are requested to speak right now and you're attentive, I want to see you guys spam the heart emojis so we can know who wants to come up, and we'll pull you guys one at a time on up. All right. I saw Daniel Fold. Let's bring you up.
Hey guys, good afternoon, man. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
What's up?
Thanks for coming up.
Absolutely, Griff. Thank you for setting this up. I've been a fan of the project from since day one, man. You actually asked my question because I was really intrigued about this new technology, this new concept. And I know there are different projects in the different communities that talk about like a wrap cell. So that's exactly that. What I'm hearing is, and I just want more clarity around it, because I think again it's going to create a lot of confusion because it's so new, and simply a lot of people, we don't know what we don't know. So if I do go into the project, and let's just say I'm Minte, I decide that I would like to be able to purchase on the secondary market. I fall in love with one specific mech, the robot. And what I would have to do with my, let's just say I already own a cat along with the robot itself. If I already have it assembled, I would then have to, what exactly do I have to do on my end to make sure that if I purchase another robot of certain rarities that's really appealing to me, what is it that I have to do to make sure that I'm able to sort of quote unquote unwrap it and be able to put in the new robot, or put the cat into the new robot and create this new NFT without losing any of my current existing NFTs, or am I gonna lose it?
Right. Okay, that's a great question, Daniel. By the way, did we speak yesterday as well in a different hour session?
We did. I asked you about the $100,000 grant. I was really fascinated about that, and you did an incredible job answering it. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for joining. It's great to see you again. So, yeah, that's a very good question. So, let's try to spread this out a little bit. So the way that you explained it right now is that you actually already so you minted a robot and a cat, and now you assembled them. Now you have the Alo set.
Correct.
So again, that's the robot and a cat, and it's animated, and it's all fun and great, and that. Now you went ahead on OpenSea and you bought a new robot. So for that robot, in order to create an Alo set, you will need another cat. You can either buy that also on OpenSea separately, or you could go ahead and take your existing Alo set that you had assembled by yourself, disassemble that, and now use that cat that you now have as an Aliment again, so the disassembled cat, and use that to create an Alo set with that other robot that you just bought. So you could do that. The other thing that you could do is actually buy another cat, whichever one you like, and assemble that. Now, the interesting part also is, let's make a different example. Let's say you minted two, or you bought on OpenSea, you bought two cats and two robots. This is no assembly here. Yeah, just two cats and two robots.
Correct.
On the website, you will actually now have a like a a choice, right? So you can now decide if you want to assemble robot A with cat A, or robot B with cat A, or robot A with cat B, or robot. You get the idea. So
Right.
You could choose which ones to assemble with which ones.
Perfect. So once it's assembled, and again, this is more of a clarity piece for the entire audience and all the fans. So once I originally first assembled and I have the cat in the robot already, once I do break it apart, let's just say I fell in love with, again, just one specific robotic body, I purchase it on OpenSea, I go to your website, I sort of disassemble my original NFT. That in itself, I now lose that NFT, right? That is burned, as you've mentioned earlier. With the new robot, once I put the cat, my original cat, in the new robot body, that initial pair is now burned, and I no longer have access to that first robot, robot A, correct?
No, the robot still exists. Just the pair doesn't exist, right? So the set doesn't exist anymore. The robot by itself and the cat by itself, they of course exist. They never burn.
Got it.
Just the set burns.
So I can't imagine myself ever selling, but if I do put it on OpenSea, I get an offer and I sell, what happens to my NFTs? I now sell everything. It's a wrap sell. So the person who buys my NFT with the new robot, they not only get the new robot, my original cat, but they also get the old robot as well.
That's right. That's right. They get the set and the two separate NFTs as well, right?
No, thank you so much. That's perfect clarity. I hope that was helpful for everyone as well. And before I go, again, congratulations. I've checked out your website multiple times already, And whoever came up with cat flicks deserves a pat on the back. That is just funny as hell and creative.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, we have this funny joke that we're making. We hope it's funny. First Catflix, then Netflix.
Oh yeah, dude, I'm okay with that. Thank you guys.
Thanks, Daniel.
Thank you, David, and make sure to send over your wallet address in my DMs when you can.
Awesome, appreciate it, guys.
Awesome. Well, before we get on to the next Q&A question, I just wanted to say thank you to Metaverse headquarters for hosting this, of course. I've been able to host a couple spaces with them. This is my favorite alpha group and community in all of NFTs. I've been with them since August, and I can just definitely say they've changed my life. And also thank you to Ailoverse for making the connection with Metaverse HQ and coming up and doing this chat and doing some allow list.
Yeah, absolutely. With pleasure.
Awesome, man. So we still have some people requested from earlier that seemed like they had some questions. So real quick, we're going to be doing the first person that can spam the clapping emoji, and we'll get you up on stage. Oh, looks like we got Judy up here already. Sorry, Judy. I didn't mean to cut you off like that. Let's go ahead and hear your question. Thanks.
Hey, how you guys doing? You guys can hear me well?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
yeah.
cool. Just before I get to my question, just quick shout out to the Ailoverse team. So happy to, get all this useful information from you guys. And thank you, Griffin, for hosting. I'm doing an amazing job. And as always, shout out to the Metaverse headquarters team. You guys are hosting some of the best, at least in my opinion, AMAs. I sat in the Project PXN one last night as well. And what you guys are doing is so, for one, slept on, but extremely impactful already. I'm excited to see where you guys continue to go. So my question for the Ailoverse team is, I was, just really, really love the art in the project, and I've liked, the roadmap that you guys have when it comes to, the series, the Catflix original series. I noticed how you guys are going to be really heavy on, the community, voting on the community lore. And I just wanted to first ask, how much influence is that lore going to have towards the overall series? Is it going to be kind of like a small fraction of what we'll end up seeing in the series, or is it going to be mainly community driven? And then my second question just kind of had to do with your guys approaching mint date. I know you guys are dropping on the 11th, and I just wanted to see if you could speak towards the auditing process that you guys had on your contract, just to protect, those who are minting on April 11th.
Yeah, both very good questions. So about the lore writing contest. So in general, everything that has to do with the lore is super broad and super
Did we lose
open.
him? Oh.
Sorry
to interrupt. I lost you there for a sec. I think you got rugged there at the first half.
Okay. Yeah. So can you hear me again?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. So yeah, I was saying that both questions are really good. So for the first question about the lore, the community is actually the central part of this. So the way that we structured the story is super broad and super open. So what we know is that there are no more humans on planet Earth. We don't know what happened to them, if they nuked themselves or if they left to planet Mars. All we know is humans are gone, no more humans. And the artificial intelligence called Ailo, hence also the name Ailoverse, because that's the central part of the story. Ailo got bored and lonely and decided to befriend cats. And in order to repopulate planet Earth, Ailo built these robots for the cats. And that's all we know. There's nothing else that is known at this moment, and that's by design. So the idea is that the community will be able to write the story and decide in which direction we're gonna go. Now, granted, if you look at our roadmap, also you'll see one of the first items there is the $100,000 community grant fund, and the idea behind that is we want to make sure that from the get-go, we want to have the budget to actually hire storytellers from the community, if we have them, and also create writing contests that are incentivized, so they have prize pools, so we actually get the most creative people of our community on board and create something that is awesome, that is not just cool for an NFT project, but actually on world stage, right? So we want to create something that can compete with big studios, and that's true not only for the animation part but also for the stories. Where these stories need to be crisp, they need to be fun, and they need to be for everyone. It's not it's not gonna do it if these characters are gonna scream LFG and WAGMI. This has to have an appeal where, as I said before, the neighbor comes over and says, "Remember, you told me about those cats and the robots? I've just seen that on YouTube, or I've just seen that on Netflix, and it's so much fun. I loved it." So that's the idea behind the storytelling, and the community is very, very central to that. The other part, which is definitely also very important, is the smart contract. Now, I've said this yesterday already. We've raised a bit over $200,000 for this project, and I think 25% of that went into the creation of the smart contract, because we've built this also not only for minting, right, or also for the assembly and the disassembly and the locking and the unlocking, all of these things to make sure that there's no exploits, because that will kill the project in a day, in a second actually. Now, with that in mind, we also had an audit done by a group of people that are very reputable in the space. I can name the owner. You guys might know him as Mr. Web3 auditing, I think they're called. Pretty reputable, and they're working with us continuously up until the day of the mint to make sure that everything is nice and neat. Not only did we find good ways to protect ourselves from exploits at Mint, and as I said, at the stages of assembly and disassembly, but also for the public sale, to make sure that we don't get these botted sales where one party buys out like 100 or 500 pieces or something like that. So nothing is for sure in this crazy space, but we feel like we have the necessary protection to give us maximum security possible.
Well, thank you so much for those answers. Those were both very informative, and answered it fully to exactly what I was looking for. So thank you. Just before I go, again, to give you guys a shout out, and I know there's a lot of people who are going to be eager to ask questions. If you're unable to get brought up to the stage, I just want to encourage everybody to go check out the Ailoverse Medium article. It's a 5-minute read or listen. They have some cool videos on there that shows you the artwork, talk about the roadmap, the story. They talk about the whole creative team, and give you a little bit of a bigger insight into like the 3D art, and kind of like where it came from and all the necessary links. So please go check out that Medium article. And thanks again, everybody, for pulling me up on stage.
Yeah, thank you, Judy. I just want to confirm, is judybands.eth the wallet address that we can get allow listed?
Can I DM it to you?
Absolutely. Go ahead and DM me whenever you can, and I'll reach out if you don't. But thank you again for
Awesome.
the shout outs and for the good question. Looks like we got Allison up on stage. Allison, shoot your shot whenever.
Hey, what's up? Super excited that I stumbled across you guys, because first of all, anyone doing anything in like the film NFT space is super cool. There's not a lot of projects yet, other than like maybe Stoner Cats and a couple others. So I'm really bullish on the film and NFT space. My question is regarding the metaverse. What is your guys' vision for having Ailoverse in the metaverse? Like, what is that gonna look like for your community, and kind of, are you guys like planning on doing games? Like, what's that gonna look like?
Yeah, thanks for that, Allison. Thanks for the kind words also. Yeah, about the metaverse adaptation, as we called it in the roadmap. So I think also there's two elements to this. There's one element that we spoke about already, where we want to get into building a game with the right partners, something that is crisp and awesome. And I think we've built the right foundations to to make that happen. The other thing that we will do on our end is actually that metaverse adaptation, and in that we also have ideas how to do this a little bit different than your regular 3D model in Sandbox or Decentraland. Now, one of the things that I would love to do and we're thinking about is maybe you could have more than one way to use your Ailoverse NFTs in the metaverse. So one example would be if you think about the robots by themselves, maybe they could be vessels to actually transport your existing 3D NFT that you might have from Fluff World, or maybe you have a CyberKong, the 3D model of those, and you want to use that inside of the robot to navigate through Decentraland or Gala Games, whatever it is. Or maybe you want to have only your cat and run around with that without the robot. So one of the ways to make this actually really cool would be that you have more ways of using those 3D models in the metaverse, and we'll decide at the time because it is a second iteration, so to speak, after the animation and all other things with the partnerships for the Alo sets that we want to tackle. We'll decide which platforms are the right ones to focus on because metaverse and in general the Web3 space is moving so fast that it might not be the Decentraland or Sandbox that is most relevant at the time. And so we'll decide. We'll make that decision to see what makes most sense.
Sweet. Yeah, that's really awesome. I think really innovative. That I think the idea of being able to wrap one of your other 3D NFTs in the robot, that's super cool. I haven't heard of that. So that sounds really fun. I'm excited to see where you guys sounds like just I looked through your website and Discord and roadmap, and I really like what you guys are doing. So excited to follow along the project.
Thank you. Thanks, Allison.
Yeah, thank you, Allison. Make sure you can DM me your public wallet address whenever you can so we can get you on the allow list. And thanks for the great question.
Awesome. Thank you.
Looks like we're going to get Sessions up here. This is actually somebody I had met yesterday in a personal spaces. So welcome up to the stage, Session.
Excellent, man. Appreciate it. Just want to say thanks for having this, and was just following you around from yesterday. So glad I got this opportunity. Love the art design here, and especially some of the team behind it. Could you elaborate a little bit more on that burning mechanism that you out and how easy that'll be able to see on the website?
Yeah. So the burning mechanism is part of the disassembly, right? So when you connect your wallet on the website, that's post mint, right? So now the mint is done and the reveal has been done, and now let's say, for example, you received your robot and your cat and you assembled them, and all is great and all is fun. Now you want to disassemble it. So you go to the website, to the assembly section, assembly or disassembly, and you connect your wallet. In your wallet now, the page sees that you have an Alo set, and you disassemble it. Now, that is very straightforward, actually. It unlocks your two Alo mints, yeah, the robot and the cat, and that third token disappears. On the other hand, when you assemble an NFT, an Alo set, it's a lot more complicated than that, because what you should think about is how does this animation actually gets created, because we can't pre-assemble every set, because those would be 5,000 times 5,000 options, right? So we wouldn't be able to render those in advance. Let me just throw on my calculator here. That's going to be 25 million options. Yeah, okay, in that first iteration. So obviously we don't do that. We have a ton of render farms, but or servers in our render farm, but not enough to create so many Alo sets. So what happens when you actually create an Alo set is that the file of the cat, the animated cat, and the file of the animated robot get get appended together in the. So we use Blender for this. For Blender is a 3D creation application, I would say. I don't know even how to say it the right way, but a 3D software. And what then happens is that on the fly, that video, that animation gets rendered. So the token gets created, and then the command goes to the render server to actually take those two files, put them together, put on the animations, and then render it and give it out to the NFT, so to speak, to the update the URL, you would say, and then you would see it on OpenSea. So that's pretty crazy. We worked on this process by itself. We worked for months, and I think it's really innovative. I think that's something that has not been done before.
Yeah, that was a great explanation. I understood the complexity of it, so I appreciate the additional info there.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Awesome. Thank you for coming up, Sesh. Go ahead and
appreciate the
DM
spaces,
me
man.
unless you're
Thank
going to
you.
be using your profile picture, or your profile name, the ETH address that we can use to get you whitelisted.
It sure is. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Perfect. All right, guys. I think we got time for one more before we got to pull the plug today. I apologize to anybody else that was looking to ask a question. We got Danny up on the stage. Let's hear it.
Hey, yeah, thanks guys for hosting this space. I just came across this project from this Twitter space. So the question I had, I was looking at your roadmap on your Discord, and I saw that, as you mentioned, there's the Ailoverse animation series, and there's even a little icon of the cat flicks. And it almost, like, what I'm trying to figure out, I guess my question is, should we see the animations as a series, or is this almost like a platform where we'll maybe even see like other episodes or series onto this through the Ailoverse, and might we even see some partnerships with other projects, delivering some series on this like platform?
Yeah, thanks, Danny, for the question. So that has created a bit of confusion. We are not creating a cat-themed streaming service or anything like that. Catflix is just a play of words. We like to make this joke saying first Catflix, then Netflix. I will say this though, one of the things that we're thinking about. So when it comes to revenues from future future revenues from streaming platforms or whatever, when we get there, we want to put back into the project. And now what we cannot do for reasons of legal reasons, let's say, is giving out royalties to characters, to NFT holders that will be starring in the show. That's going to make Ailoverse a security and kick us off OpenSea. But what we can do, and we're thinking of ways to do that, is using those funds to actually create a launchpad for other animators, but maybe also other NFT creators that want to create their own collections that is themed in the 3D art, and maybe also animation stuff. And that would be a way to give back, so to speak, to the community from those royalties.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Danny. I appreciate you asking that question. You've been a really great whenever you come up into our spaces and ask some questions. And we love to see regulars like that. We're going to be doing these every week with different hosts from the Metaverse HQ community. I think we're going to be ending it here in just a minute. I just wanted to thank Daniel again from Ailoverse for all the detailed information and answering all these questions for these fans of the project. And did you have anything that you wanted to end with, Daniel?
Yeah, would like to thank you again for having us and for everyone who showed up. This was a lot of fun. And if you guys got any questions, if you wanna reach out, then come hang out in the Discord, or shoot me a message on Twitter. I'm here as a listener as well. Othersideinc.eth. That's going to be my personal account. Yeah, thank you very much for having us, and this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a great time. I just wanted to reiterate to everyone that was up here asking questions to make sure you have DM me your wallet address so we can get you on the allow list. And I see you, Killua and Z Adam. You guys have been up here wanting to ask some questions, but sadly we don't have enough time. But if you guys could go ahead and DM me your wallet addresses too, we'll get you all set up with the Ailoverse allow list. But I guess without further ado, I just wanted to thank everyone again. Metaverse HQ, that is my favorite alpha group, my favorite NFT community. I've been with them since August, and I've just started to do the spaces for them as we are building out the content arm over at Metaverse HQ. Definitely keep your eye on us, and if you're interested in joining one of the premier trading groups in my eyes, and networking opportunities, I think, in the space, check into Metaverse HQ. And again, thank you everyone in the crowd. We had a large crowd today, and we'll see you guys next time. Poop, pull the plug whenever you